from the NewsChannel 5 network, this is Sportsline.
Hey there, Sportsline on your television. Steve Layman here with you. Glad you are here with us on this Tuesday night on NewsChannel 5 Plus. Phone lines open up right now, 737-7767. We want to hear from you guys tonight. Any way you want to take the show, there are a lot of things we can talk about. Number one, the Titans lose on Sunday to the Texans, 24-21. 14-0 down at halftime. The unfortunate first half with the blocked field goal with Ryan Succop. Kicking continues to be an issue as this team has missed a franchise record 10 field goals so far this year. Succop just 1 of 6 since coming back from injured reserve. He clearly doesn't appear to be healthy, even though he's trying to gut it out for this team late in the season. Then you have the interception that looked like it was going to be a touchdown to Anthony Ferkser. Justin Reed, the big hit. Whitney Merciless gets the interception and runs it all the way back to the Titans 10, where the Texans score a couple of plays later. That's your first half pretty much in a nutshell. But this Titans team continues to fight back. It continues to be a second half team. And it got back to a place where it tied the game at 14. But for the first time, really, since this team has turned the season around, an opponent had the answer. Came up with the goods. Back-to-back scoring drives from Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins, and the Texans as they reclaimed a 10-point lead and then held on 24-21. So now Houston has control of the AFC South. The Titans' backs are against the wall in terms of the division, but also now the playoff race. They did get a little help Sunday night from the Bills winning in Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football. It means that the wild card race is still very much up for grabs. And there is a scenario in which the Titans can win the South still as well. But the biggest thing they have to do now is regroup and focus on a very good Saints team, as we saw last night on Monday Night Football, coming in here on Sunday. Drew Brees, now the all-time leading passing touchdown quarterback in the history of the NFL. He threw 4 more last night, getting to 541 for his career. That passes Peyton Manning's mark, which was 539 when he retired a couple of years ago. You got all those great wide receivers. You have a Saints team that's 11-3 on the year, fighting for home field advantage in the playoffs. It's going to be a battle on Sunday, and the Titans need it for what they want to do. They need it. Say, one of those must-win games. What kind of an atmosphere do you expect on Sunday? What did you think of the atmosphere this past week? It was loud. The fans who were there were fired up for the game, but I got to be honest. For fans that I hear call into the show a fair amount, and people around town who've talked for a long time about the need for the Titans to put more into the franchise, the need for the Titans to get back to winning in all the years we talked about losing until they got to the playoffs. The need for the Titans to get to the playoffs, which they did a couple of years ago. The need for the Titans to be consistent. On their way probably to a 4 straight winning season here. All the things that I've heard about the Titans. You play the biggest game of the year, and it's just an okay crowd. There's probably 60,000 out of 69, maybe not even that much. Shouldn't it be better than that? And why isn't? One of the other things I heard, okay, all right, so you're in the playoffs. So you're winning. You're going 9-7. But you got to be more exciting. I want to see more exciting football and feel like this team can beat anybody in the league. Well, from what you saw from the Titans for the 6 weeks leading up to Sunday, isn't that exactly what they were? They were the most explosive offense in the NFL during that time. Ryan Tannehill was the highest-rated quarterback in the NFL. Derrick Henry was running for more yards than anybody in the NFL during that time. And they were beating pretty good teams. On the road, at home, everywhere they went. And then here comes one of their biggest rivals with first place and sole possession of the division lead on line. And it's just an okay crowd. Why is that? Why does it take a Week 17 win and you're in crowd or game for the crowd to show up? Why does it take a playoff game for the crowd to show up? Shouldn't it be better than that? Shouldn't have Sunday merited a better crowd than what we saw? 737-7767, the number. The Predators, by the way, started their 4-game road trip, and they need points on this road trip. They need points every game they go out there. But they start the road trip in 11th place. They win last night in New York against the Rangers. Tonight they go across the East River, Nassau Coliseum, to take on old Barry Trotz and the Islanders. And it looked like a repeat of Saturday night, second period against the Stars for a little bit, with 3 goals in the span of less than 9 minutes after the Preds led 1-0, just like Saturday night. Pecorine struggling. You started to think, oh man, this is going to get off the rails again. And the Predators fought back. Philip Forsberg with a power play goal. Craig Smith with his second goal of the night. And then Rocco Grimaldi with a goal, tying his career high already this season. So the Preds lead at 4-3 after 2 periods against the Islanders. This would be a big win. That is a good team on the road on the second night of a back-to-back. That would be a big, big win for this Predators team if they can pull it out in the third and final period there at Nassau Coliseum. Of course, you have college football early signing day tomorrow. Clemson projected to be number 1, Alabama, LSU, Ohio State, Texas A&M, Georgia. They're all the teams kind of at the top of the heap right now when you look at the recruiting rankings or the projected rankings for what we're going to see tomorrow. Tennessee's checking in right about the 20 mark right now. If Jeremy Pruitt can get a couple more big-time commitments or maybe flip a guy by tomorrow, chance that maybe the Vols can slide up into the top 15. Well, we'll see. And then Vanderbilt, a couple commitments in the last few days, hovering in the upper 50s right now, just above 60. Maybe can move into the top 50 with the big day tomorrow, so we will see about that. Obviously got a lot of coverage to get to there. We can talk about a lot of that stuff, college basketball, playoff, bowl games, anything you want to get to in terms of college football. And then also, I'm remiss. I missed this while talking about the Titans, but the Pro Bowl announcement for teams just came out tonight. No surprise. A lot of the usual subjects or suspects in there. But in terms of the Titans, I think it was pretty much a no-doubter that Brett Kern and Derrick Henry would both get in, and they did. But that was it for the Titans Pro Bowl selections. Kern leading vote getter among AFC punters. He will go for the 3rd consecutive year. Henry, 2nd in the league in rushing right now. He gets his first call to the NFL All-Star Game, so a big moment for him. He called it a dream come true after the selection tonight. And then there were 6 other Titans that were named as alternates. I thought Logan Ryan got robbed. He's been fantastic this year, having a career year for himself and one of the best years statistically of any quarterback in the league. I think he's been the defensive MVP so far for the Titans. I thought he deserved to be an outright. He's an alternate, so hopefully at least gets the call. Kevin Byard certainly could have been deserving to go to the Pro Bowl again this year. He is an alternate. Jarrell Casey had gone 4 straight years. He's an alternate this year, not getting in, maybe hampered a little bit for a while by the knee injury after leaving the season early last year with the knee injury, rehabbing all off season, coming back, missing a little bit of training camp to get back on the field as well. And then after you get past that, I think you get a little bit more surprising. Ryan Tannehill's been phenomenal, but obviously he didn't play really until week 7 of the season. He's an alternate, so chance he gets in as a Pro Bowl quarterback. And then Roger Saffold, I think that one's going to surprise a lot of people because I don't think he's had a particularly great year after signing the big free agent contract coming over from the Rams after being in the Super Bowl last year. But Roger Saffold, a Pro Bowl alternate selection. We'll see if he ultimately ends up going. And Bo Brinkley, the Titans long snapper, also an alternate selection. So at least 2 Titans will be there, barring injury. Derrick Henry, Brett Kern. Chance for a handful of others. to go down to Orlando at the end of January. Phone lines are open tonight, 737-7767, the number. We want you guys to take control of the show. We can go wherever you would like to take us on any of these topics or something else if you would like to get to it. We begin tonight with LD. LD, how are you, my friend?
Hey, how you doing tonight, Steve? Love the show once again.
Thanks, buddy.
So tonight I'm going to go two places. From top to bottom, I'm talking about hockey, the Predators. I love Mr. Poirier. He's a very sweet, soft-spoken man. I was able to meet him, and they deserve a big fight for him in Bridgestone Arena and other places. So God bless hockey. And the second thing is I was watching the football game, the Tennessee Titans football game, and at the closing, when the commentator said this game is over, I kind of left that game. But I'm sitting here thinking, when you're playing a great game of football and you're able to win, you don't really win by just the plays. You see a couple of plays from a quarterback, then all of a sudden they kind of visualize the end zone, how to get into the end zone from here. Oh, I can reach the end zone from here. We can definitely get in the end zone from here, and that comes with points. So what we're talking about is points coming from your offense, and then this defense being such high skeptical, players that you want to see them win. Well, it's real tough when you're bargaining and arguing about a team that's right there on the flanker of the NFL ranks. I mean, you can get in or you can fall off, but they don't have a real reliable offense that sees the end zone and gets a lot of points out of their end zone looks. And I think that's sad that Logan got depicted. He didn't make it this year, because I've seen Logan really turn that defense around and get the offense back the ball a lot of times. But as I say, if you don't see that end zone after a certain amount of plays and you made your plays, you're really going to fall off in this league, man. So many people are seeing the end zone and they're getting there, Steve.
All right, LD, thanks for the call. I think that's the encouraging thing, frankly, about the Titans, is the fact that the offense has picked up the scoring load in the second half of the season with Ryan Tannehill in there. They're averaging right at 30 points a game. That's way better than even the average of the playoff teams from last year in the NFL and will be again this year. So the offense for the Titans has been very good, but unfortunately, here's the issue. They have struggled in the first half of games, and this has been consistent throughout the course of the year. It happened too much early with Marcus Mariota at quarterback, but in the 7 games that Ryan Tannehill has played at quarterback, or I guess now 8 games that the Titans have played, they've been shut out in the first half in 2 of those 8 games. Those are the 2 games they've lost with Ryan Tannehill as their starting quarterback. There's no surprise about that. When you do not score in a half, you are behind the 8 ball, and you have a whole lot that you have to make up. And at Carolina, after 2 big wins, you beat the Chargers, you beat the Bucs at home. Those were games they had to have. They figured out how to win them in the fourth quarter. You go on the road to Carolina. That is a winnable game, you would think. And the Titans have a goose egg in the first half. The offense just couldn't get going. Tannehill struggled a little bit. Henry didn't get enough touches. And you're down 20-0. Now they fight back. They score 20 points in the second half, but not enough, and they lose 30-20. So that puts them behind the 8 ball, backs against the wall again, and then they run off. Kansas City win. Jacksonville win. Indianapolis on the road. They beat that nemesis. Then they go out west and beat Oakland. You start to feel really good about yourself because now you're putting up 30 and 40 points a game. You come back. The AFC South is on the line against Houston. 0 in the first half again. Now this one was different because they moved the ball. The offense was productive in the first half, but you get a blocked field goal attempt, and kicking has killed this team throughout the course of the season. Just has. I mean, cost them the Indianapolis game early, certainly cost them the Buffalo game early, and in a way cost them this game, or at least a better shot at winning this game against the Texans. And then you have that drive where it looks like you're going in for a touchdown to go up 7-0. Ferkser gets hit. Merciless gets it, takes it back the other way, as we talked about earlier. Just a 14-point swing, just like that, turned the game around early on. But again, the bottom line is the Titans did not put points on the board in the first half and found themselves down by double digits. And against good teams, it's just really hard to come back and win those types of games. I mean, think about it. The Titans outscored the Texans 21-10 in the second half. For the season, they've outscored opponents by 98 points in the second half. But if you're down by 14 going into the second half, you got a lot of work to make up. And they couldn't quite do it on Sunday. And so that's their thing now, is they've got to figure out. The offense has been fixed. Art Smith is doing a good job play calling right now. Ryan Tannehill is executing well. Derrick Henry's running hard. The offensive line is blocking better. The receivers are coming together. A.J. Brown looks like a star, by the way. But they got to figure out these starts, because they cannot afford to play uphill, especially these final 2 weeks against the Texans and the Saints. Go to line 2, say hello to Chris. Chris, you're on Sportsline. How are you?
All right. How you doing, Steve?
Good, thank you.
Steve, I just wanted to make a few quick comments about fan attendance. And really, it's something that's doing with this is a new era right now. When the Titans were rocking and rolling and they owned that stadium, they were crushing teams back in the glory days of Jeff Fisher. I mean, we weren't talking nail biters. We were crushing teams, and it was a lot more fun to just go to the games when that was going on. Another issue is, at that time, TV technology wasn't near what it is right now. Back in the Fisher days, TVs were very expensive, and they weren't nearly as good as they are now. So, I mean, watching a game from home had a lot of advantages. And the last point I want to make is that the game has changed, and it's changed to make the game safer, which is good for the players, but in many instances it's also made the game much more complicated, much harder to understand the rules, and it's just not quite as interesting as some of the blockbuster games of the 70s and 80s and 90s. So it's really just just a different era, and we don't have the history that like a Green Bay has or a Pittsburgh has to draw from. We're still a relatively new team in that aspect. So I think when you look at all those factors, I think the Titans, really the only thing they can control is going back to the days when they were crushing teams, but the TV technology and the changing of the game is just working against the Titans and everyone else. And I'll just listen to your comment.
I think those are excellent points, Chris. I don't know if I really have a whole lot to add. Obviously, the fact that you don't have the history that goes back here like the Steelers or the Cowboys or the Packers or the Bears plays a huge factor. And you've got a lot of people who have moved here who had allegiances with their family or growing up elsewhere. And now they move into part of this town. So do they stay Packers fans or Cowboys fans, or do they adapt and become part of the Nashville community? And Titans fans, I think that's a factor as well. There's no question the TVs and the home experience, throw in fantasy football to that. You know, pretty much all of my friends from around the country, wherever they are, the biggest thing they talk about on Sunday is sitting at home, computer in their lap, watching the big screen, monitoring their fantasy football team. You know, and if their hometown team is playing at the same time, okay, maybe you're watching that game, but that's what the laptop's for, is you can keep an eye on everything else that's going on with your fantasy football team from home. It's just more difficult to do that, obviously, in the stadium. But that's kind of sad to me, because there's nothing quite like being in the stadium for a big game and being a part of it and cheering on your team and the camaraderie of people in the community coming together in that moment. I mean, think about the Music City Miracle for a moment and the 69,000 people who were there that day. Chances are, if you were there, you didn't know the person sitting next to you or behind you or in front of you. But when Kevin Dyson got that ball and went down the sideline and it was clear he was going to score and the Titans were going to win, you probably high-fived the person in front of you, hugged the person next to you, turned around and high-fived the guy behind you and embraced your buddy that you came to the game with, or your son or your wife or whatever the case may be. That's what is so amazing about sporting events in person, is you just have this communal experience where you can come from all different walks of life and all different places, but once you get into the stadium, you're all there for one reason. You're all there for one team. And I just wonder, because we've had this conversation for a long time on this program, frankly, of Titans fans saying, hey, for me to come back, for me to pay the money to go to the game, we need to see this. We need to see more wins. We need to see it get back to the playoffs. We need to see it be more consistent. We need to see a new coach. We need to see a better offense, more excitement, all those sort of things. They've sort of answered all of those questions now. It didn't happen overnight, but all of those things are happening now. And so here you had this huge game over the weekend, and you still don't have the crowd. So now my question is, what do they have to do? And maybe Chris is right. Maybe they have to blow people out. But that's not really how the NFL is designed. It's a league full of parity, where teams go from last place to first place and vice versa from year to year. I think you're going to get a lot of games like Sunday. You're going to get a lot of games like we've seen throughout the course of the year. The Chiefs game comes down to a blocked field goal. Chargers game comes down to a goal line stand. Just games are tight. You got to win those. And the Titans have won their fair share, which is why they're in the position they are. I just think Sunday the crowd could have been better. That's all. All right. Back to the phones. Hello, Mike.
Yes. I have two things that I'd like to share with you, and then I'd like to ask the question.
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, you keep talking about the first half and what actually happened that prevented the Titans from being able to score in the first half. Well, what we saw unequivocally was that the Texans were able to put more pressure on Tannehill. And with that extra pressure came a reduction in his accuracy rate during the early stages of the game. Now, keep in mind, this is a penetration and riding over our offensive line. Now, let's go to the last drive of the game. Here we are. The Texans know what the solution to Tannehill is, and that is to put pressure on him and see a reduction in the effectiveness of the passing game. I'm telling you, everybody in the NFL was watching. And here this star from nowhere, Tannehill, suddenly the best record as an offensive quarterback in the NFL, and we've heard it all. And suddenly they've exposed a nerve. They've exposed a way to throttle Tannehill. Get ready. We got two more big games coming up, and everybody knows what they have to do to stop this offense. Thank you for your comments. Have a good day.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, though I think that's the goal against every quarterback in the league. That's the mission. Nobody says going in, we don't want to get pressure on the quarterback. Everybody wants pressure. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. I do think the Texans got a little bit more pressure, certainly than Oakland did the week before. I think they got more than Indianapolis did. Jacksonville got some, and Tannehill was great in that game. So he's seen some pressure before this year. I do think whether it was the pressure or just maybe not being super sharp at the beginning of the game, he struggled a little bit out of the gate himself. That was a factor in the first half. But he figured it out. He ultimately had a good game. He was sharp in the second half, and he did what he needed to do, frankly. I do think you're right. You're going to see pressure in these final 2 weeks. People are going to try and get after Tannehill and change this offense from what it's been here in recent weeks. I think another huge factor there is they got down. When you're down by 14 points late in the first half and then into the second half, guess what? There's not much secret to what you're doing. You're going to have to drop back and pass. When the Titans have been at their most successful spots during this run, you know what they're doing? They're staying ahead of the chains. They're staying ahead on the scoreboard. And so they're able to run Derrick Henry. They're able to use play-action pass. That makes that pass rush slow down. Because now you're thinking, uh-oh, they might hand it to 22. So then you run that play action. Now guys are more open. Everything feeds off that. That's what the Titans offense wants to be. And that's the secret. That's the key for them. And it's no secret. You know it, I know it, the Saints know it, the Texans will know it in Week 17. If they get to the playoffs, that opponent will know it. The Titans need to be successful on early downs. They need to get Derrick Henry running, get teams to load the box, then they run play action. You stay ahead of the chains. You prevent the pass rush from coming full bore. You buy your offensive line, which has been shaky at times, a little bit more help. The Titans need that to be the recipe. It didn't happen as much this weekend. They only put up 21 points as opposed to 42 or 35 where they've been the last few weeks. That's the bottom line to what the offense was for them this weekend. So we need to see more of that and staying ahead of the scoreboard too. You know, when you're down double digits, you're going to have to pass in the NFL. If you're tied or within one score or leading, now you're running your offense. Now you're doing exactly what you want to do no matter what time of the game it is. You just ride those things. Titans have been very successful when they've been able to do that. Back to the phones. Go to line one. Say hello to David. David, you're on Sports Line.
Yes. I have three quick things I want to say. One is not on the Titans. One is on the Titans. The other is on the Preds. Okay, the one not on the Titans is I'm not sure if I'm right, but I believe the Tampa Bay has never made the playoffs. So are they going to keep Winston? Remember, Winston was drafted first. Mariota was drafted second.
Correct.
Then my second question is the Titans have used their cornerback to return balls. You see, the problem with that is you don't have backups in your cornerback position. You take a second-year cornerback to be returning punts. I believe that is part of the reason why he's hurt and he's injured and he's on the sideline. You know, in street clothes and not playing. So that idea was a very bad idea. My third part on the Predators. Weber, they have Weber, was gone. Mike Fisher, gone. P.K. Subban, gone. These are defensemen. I believe the problem they are having now, leaking goals, is because they don't have defensemen as good as Weber was, Fisher was, P.K. Subban was, and they let P.K. Subban go. So what are your thoughts on the three things?
Yeah, thanks, David. I think good stuff. I'll tackle both of those things here. First off, quickly with the Preds, I think there's no question about that. I think they have traded some of their defensive power over the years. Remember, they also traded Seth Jones, who's an all-star now in Columbus. They've traded some of their defensive stalwarts to try to upgrade offense, to stick up with people in the league. First, it was just to compete and score with others. Now it's trying to surpass people up front. And I think they've traded some defense because of that. I think there's no question. The biggest thing to me, though, is some of the personalities. Weber and Subban, at times, in a hockey sense, they're nice guys. But those guys in a hockey sense could be grisly. And when things got tough, they're the type of guys that I think would grab a guy and say, we gotta go, or speak up in the locker room and try to get guys fired up. This is a great group of guys. I think you'd enjoy talking to all of them. I'm not sure who the leader is in the room that when the going gets tough, somebody stands up and will undress the room, so to speak, and say, we've gotta go. I don't know who that guy is. It's maybe one of those cases where the chemistry is so good, the guys are so likable and fit together so well that it's hard to light a fire under them. And I think you've seen that. It's just been a team that seems to have lacked urgency so far this year, and they've got to figure it out moving forward because they are not in a good position right now. And when it comes to the Titans and the quarterback situation, I don't know, the hindsight thing with the quarterback and what you do with Mariota and how you do it differently, it's clear the Titans failed him. But I don't know what in particular. When you have 4 different head coaches and 5 different offensive coordinators and the line struggles and you have injuries and all of that stuff, it all piles up. And I think ultimately that's what it was for Marcus Mariota. Is it wasn't any one thing. It was everything It was the injuries. It was arm trouble. It was nerve trouble. It was leg trouble. It was too many voices in his head, too many offenses to master. Not just learn, but master. All that stuff I just think led to an unsure quarterback at the start of the year. And he wasn't bad. Don't get me wrong with that. He was not good in Denver when he got benched. But through the first 5 weeks of the season, Mariota's numbers were fine. The offense, though, just wasn't clicking. It looked nothing like what you're seeing right now, and it's because he had a quarterback who was unsure. He'd get back there, and he wasn't ready to let it rip. And I just think that's what it is. It is amazing, though, when you think back to that draft 5 years ago. Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, two guys who'd won the Heisman Trophy. Everybody said these are can't-miss quarterbacks. These guys are going to be elite at the next level. And here we are, the end of 5 years, and Mariota's definitely done in Tennessee, and I would say there's a pretty good chance Jameis is going to be done in Tampa Bay as well. All right, we got to take a break. We will come back, get to more of your phone calls right after this. 737-7767, the number. Stay tuned. More Sportsline right after this.
The Storm 5 weather update. For weather on the go, download the Storm Shield app.
Cloudy skies were the theme today, with even some flurries. Speaks to how potent the cold front that came through Monday night was. Now, we are still trapped kind of in that cold flow on the back side of the system, so it is going to be a cold night tonight. Skies are clearing, flurries are leaving, and the wind is calming down. So we are on an improving trend, but with that cold air still settling into the mid-state, we're on our way to one of the coldest nights this week. This is where temperatures sit across the southeast. You really see how areas north and northwest are even colder than us. Well, they have snowpack on the ground, and that always keeps you colder. Here's a look at where we sit here in Nashville. Overnight tonight, we do bottom out at 25 with that wind becoming light. Then as we head into Wednesday with clear skies, we've got lots of sunshine. The problem is we'll still have that cold front bringing in some cool air out of the northwest. Not a howling wind, but a reinforcing wind. And that'll keep things feeling somewhat chilly for Wednesday, moderate and into the 50s by the weekend.
Whether a house is new or whether a house is 20 years old, we can go in and we can find debris in the lines. Mr. B's is about doing duct cleaning the best that we can do it and better than anybody else in the industry. And we literally cut a hole into the main trunk line and we attach a HEPA vacuum system to it.
All right.
When we do that and turn it on, it causes a negative airflow. As that machine's sucking everything backwards, we go to each line and we'll brush it, and then we air sweep it down to the trunk line. Everything is being brushed and air swept to the trunk line, not bringing it back into your breathing atmosphere. What makes my home need an air duct cleaning? You have to make that decision. It's your environment. And so if you have black lines at the edge of your carpets, or you have any sort of dust, excess dust in your home that you're dealing with, and that's a problem for you, then you definitely would want your air ducts cleaned. And as I've said before, people can outprice me, but they're not going to outclean me. There's only one way, and that's the right way, and that's what we do at Mr. B's Air Duct Cleaning.
You know the feeling, the tender little moments of the holidays when you give a gift and feel you get more. Give a family you don't even know a Christmas morning, and it warms your heart.
The Salvation Army's Food Angel program connects you to that feeling. Join Kroger in making that connection. Donate $25 at checkout and provide a meal for an Angel Tree family. Together, we can create those miracle moments this Christmas.
The Last Minute Toy Store benefits thousands of Nashville children.
And again, the Davidson County Sheriff's Office and News Channel 5 are teaming up to help the store.
Many families won't have gifts for their kids without your generosity. Here's how you can help.
Bring new unwrapped toys for kids or gift cards for teens to the Sheriff's Office downtown or at 5117 Harding Place at these times.
Or you can order a gift directly from Amazon.
For more information about giving, volunteering, or if you need help, go to lastminutetoystore.com.
Back here on Sportsline, phone lines open, 737-7767, the number. We go to Michael. Michael, thanks for waiting through the break. You're on the air.
All right, thank you. I heard somebody talking about your fan base earlier, how the fans wasn't showing up and they weren't, bringing the team together. What needs to happen there is these so-called Titan fans, and I'm not going to, say all of them this way, but the so-called Titan fans who buy their season tickets every year and take them out there and sell them to other teams, to get into the game ought to stop that. They ought to go in and support their team. That's what a true fan does. He supports his team. He don't sell his ticket for $40 or $50 more than what it's worth. He supports his team. You ought to make it illegal for anybody to go outside that stadium and sell one of their seats that they bought for the season ticket holders. Buy them all the time. Know they're out there, thousands of them. That's why you don't have men there, because the true base who gets in there and supports these other people out there, they're not true Titans fans. They're just people who want to make a dollar. And the almighty dollar is keeping football down like that. If you notice, Steelers come to town, sometimes it looks like the Steelers' home team, a home game. How does it get that way? Somebody has to give up their ticket for us to get in there and do like that. So Titans fans, get on these boys that ain't doing right, selling the tickets out from underneath you. Get your fans in there. Titans fans, buy the tickets they're selling and put Titans in their seats, not Steelers, not Colts, not Buffalo. Put Titans in the seat. Thank you.
Yeah, Michael, good stuff. I think a lot of Titans fans have that complaint for sure, that other teams have come in and invaded Nashville and invaded Nissan Stadium for games. That wasn't the case on Sunday, though. The Texans maybe had 5,000 of the 60 or so that were there. So the people who were there were Titans fans, and those people were loud. They were totally into it. They deserve pat on the backs, not condemnation for their fandom and their job that they did in supporting the team on Sunday. But it does beg the question what it will take for this team to put 69,000 in Nissan Stadium again, to sell that thing out and make it a true home field advantage like it was when they first got here. And I know times are different and the experience is different and all that sort of stuff. But this is a pretty good team. They're at a four straight winning season, possibly a second playoff appearance in 3 years. There aren't a lot of franchises in the NFL that have seen that level of success in the last 4 seasons. And this team's done it after being one of the worst teams in the league. They're trying to build something here, and they're kind of creating momentum. It's maybe not happening as fast as anybody would like it, but there could be a lot worse situations around the league, and I just think there can be better atmospheres over there. And I know the Titans are trying to figure out how to do it, but I haven't really heard the answer from the fans of what it takes. Because I feel like I've heard answers for so many years, but then the goalposts move. It's, okay, well, you won, but now I need you to win in the playoffs. Or, okay, you got to the playoffs, but now I need you to be more exciting. Or, I need you to be more consistent. Okay, now you're consistent, now I need this. And at some point, it just is what it is. You're either going to show up because it's your team and it's your city, or you're not. And at the moment, it's starting to look a little bit more like the latter in that regard. Interesting for a city, by the way. Nashville named yesterday by Sports Business Journal as the best sports city in America for what they've done with the Predators and that home ice environment at Bridgestone Arena, the unbelievable record crowds of the NFL draft last spring. I don't know, though. I don't know if you can couple in Titans homes games with that, because it's not the same. It's not the same at all. All right, let's take another break off of that. We'll come back, get to more Sports Line right after this.
This week on Fishin' Affliction TV.
Pat, we're getting out, son of a gun. Get him, man.
Join Team Fishin' Affliction for part 2 as the bite is on legendary Gunnersville and Pat Anderson catches a giant.
That is a giant, man.
Your Fishin' Affliction TV weekend begins Saturdays right here on News Channel 5 Plus, your home for
Fishin' Affliction time for those who've got it bad.
I wanted to lose weight, but I needed something safe and effective that didn't require me to exercise. I asked my pharmacist, and they recommended I take Garcinia Cambogia. With so many brands out there, I wanted one I could trust. So I chose Pharmacist's Blends 95% Pure Garcinia Cambogia Complex. It is actually formulated by a pharmacist, so I know that I'm getting quality. So get Pharmacist's Blends Garcinia Cambogia. I trust my pharmacist, and so should you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Andrew Orton, board-certified plastic surgeon and host of The Doctors. If you've tried every fad diet and extreme workout and still struggle with stubborn body fat, then it's time you call Sono Bello. I've personally performed thousands of body fat removal procedures, and the results I've seen achieved by the highly skilled experts at Sono Bello are truly outstanding.
Sono Bello's board-certified surgeons use micro-laser technology to safely target and remove your diet-resistant fat cells permanently. So eliminate fat on your stomach, thighs, and back. Don't wait to schedule your free no-obligation consultation now.
With Sono Bello, you can permanently remove stubborn fat and in just one visit.
Plus, find out how to get one area free with our best deal of the year. Hurry, this is a limited-time exclusive offer. Call 1-800-799-0580 or go to sonobello.com.
Back here on Sports On, we get into a little bit of analysis. Jonathan Hutton with us on the Electric Power Company Sunday Sports Central. Keys to the game as the Titans lost and fell out of control of first place in the AFC South Sunday against the Texans. Time for Keys to the Game, sponsored by your Middle Tennessee Hyundai dealers. What a strange game, Jay Hutt. The Titans with more yards in every phase, especially in the first half, but they failed to score before halftime for the 5th time this year.
The Titans aren't known for starting fast, but they had opportunities to grab the lead today. They lost a 3-point game where the Titans saw 10 points come off the board in the first half because of the Whitney Merciless interception and the blocked field goal attempt. The Titans could have been up 3-0 or 7-0, and ultimately it was a tie game in the fourth quarter, anyone's ball game. But those missed points early cost them a chance to not just grab the lead, but change the arc of the game. Instead, Steve, it was their 5th scoreless half, and they've now lost all 5 of those games.
Yeah, you just hit on a couple of them, but the mistakes they've been able to overcome in recent weeks were costly today.
Yeah, and in a tightly contested divisional matchup, you have to take advantage of scoring opportunities. They moved the football, they just didn't cash in early, and that's why they never really threatened to win this game. There's a lot to love about this offense since Tannehill took over, but this slow out of the gate offense is one area they haven't improved. They've failed to score first in 11 of their 14 games this season, and they've trailed at halftime in 7 games, and it's hard to repeatedly dig yourself out of those holes week after week.
During the Titans' 6-1 surge, they always seem to come up with the big play, and nobody had the answer. Today, the Texans did with consecutive fourth-quarter drives for points.
And this game felt like a heavyweight slugfest, a big fight. And credit the Texans for delivering the final big uppercuts. And while those punches didn't knock the Titans out, Houston was able to win by unanimous decision. The game was tied with 13 minutes to play, and in crunch time, Deshaun Watson went to DeAndre Hopkins 4 times for 94 yards in the fourth quarter to close out the game. The Titans had no answer for Hopkins in man coverage, and when they played zone, they could not get pressure, producing just 1 sack all day and allowing Watson to make the off-schedule plays that ultimately were the difference.
It was code blue at Nissan Stadium on Sunday. Now it's code red for the Titans' playoff chances. Yeah, still opportunities thanks to the Steelers' loss against the Bills on Sunday night. So here's your scenario now if you're the Titans. First off, there still is a shot to win the AFC South. For that to happen, first off, you're watching the Texans in Tampa Bay against Jameis Winston and the Bucs on Saturday. Bucs, by the way, have won 4 straight games now. If the Bucs can make it 5 in a row and win at home against the Texans on a short week on the road, then that sets up an opportunity for the Titans, if they can beat New Orleans on Sunday here at Nissan Stadium, then to go to Houston with the division on the line in Week 17, because then you'd have the same record. You would both be 9-6 at that point. And whoever wins in Week 17 would then go to the playoffs. And the losing team would probably be out, although the Texans would have a better shot to sneak in as the wild card. The wild card's the easier path for the Titans because that involves a couple things to happen this weekend just to set up the scenario for Week 17. Regardless of what happens this weekend, the Titans will have an opportunity to make the playoffs as the wild card in Week 17. All that would take would be a Titans win in Houston over the Texans, and then a Steelers loss in either of their final 2 games. So that would be this weekend at the Jets, probably not going to happen, or the final weekend against the Ravens, who maybe still have things to play for in that game. So if you get a loss from the Steelers in either game and the Titans win in Week 17, the Titans then get in because they would have, you'd go to the tiebreak as the same record. They'd have the same record within the AFC after the Titans win over the Texans and the Steelers lost to an AFC team, whoever it would be. And so then you go to strength of victory, of which the Titans are considerably in front of Pittsburgh. And so that's how the Titans get in for the wild card from that perspective. There is one other scenario, and that would be if the Titans beat the Saints this weekend, lose to the Texans, they can get in, but only if Pittsburgh loses both of those games. Not likely, maybe not out of the realm of possibility with Devlin Hodges, the Duck, at quarterback, but probably not likely. So if you're the Titans, you got to go out there and win. You got to go out there, try to take care of business as much as possible, and hope you get a little help, ideally from Tampa Bay this weekend and from somebody on Pittsburgh's schedule, but certainly from one or the other to give yourself a real shot in Week 17. All right, let's go to the post-game report. JB on a slow start and a disappointing afternoon at Nissan Stadium on Sunday.
After a disastrous first half against the Texans, when just about everything that could go wrong did, the Titans fought back, erasing a 14-0 halftime deficit with back-to-back touchdowns, sandwiched around a Jayon Brown end zone interception, and the stage appeared to be set for another magical comeback win.
We never doubted ourselves. We thought we were in it to the very end, to the clock hit 0.
Even though we were down 14 points, nobody in this locker room put their heads down. Our confidence never wavered, so we had all the faith in the world that we was going to come back and make it a ball game.
But after keeping Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins quiet for most of the first half, the Texans' dynamic duo exploded on the ensuing drive. Hopkins with a 35-yard catch on the first play, and then 2 plays later, a 17-yard scramble by Watson, which set up the go-ahead touchdown run by Carlos Hyde.
You got to contain him the whole game, and unfortunately we didn't do that. So, the outcome it is what it is.
Defense, we didn't hold it. We didn't hold it down. We didn't hold our end of the bargain when it came late in the game. They made some plays, and DeAndre Hopkins got a couple good catches. So that's football right there.
After the Titans were forced to punt, Watson led the Texans on a 12-play,